All right, everybody. Back with another one. This is part 14 on the River Gran among the Quadi. Even if you're going to live 3,000 more years, or 10 times that, remember, you cannot lose another life than the one you're living now, or live another one than the one you're losing. The longest amounts to the same as the shortest. The present is the same for everyone. Its loss is the same for everyone. And it should be clear that a brief instant is all that is lost, for you can't lose either the past or the future. How could you lose what you don't have? Remember two things. Firstly, that everything has always been the same and keeps reoccurring, and it makes no difference whether you see the same things reoccur in 100 years or 200 or in an infinite period. Secondly, that the longest lived and those who will die soonest lose the same thing. The present is all that they can give up, since that is all you have, and what you do not have, you cannot lose. I get what he's saying here, certainly. It's true that there's nothing guaranteed. The past is what we make of it. Our memories fallible as well, and there tends to be a compression over time, and so what's happened and what we remember what's happened is both true and false at the same time, but we can't access it, at least with today's technology. But then the future, it also kind of resides in this space where we can imagine what we would like it to be, and certainly that's very powerful for goal striving, for future planning, for just organizing your life, I suppose, people and whatnot that you have in it. But at the same time, though, it's not real. The only thing that truly exists is these fleeting moment by moments where you're cognizant of what's around you, the light shining in here, look at my face on the recording here, touching this bookmark. These things are all happening currently and are very real. And as much as I'd like to say I try my best to predict the future, in various assets or various aspects of life, those predictions don't always come true, and so there's always, and the longer you stretch time out too, thinking, oh, what will I like to be doing in 10 or even 20, 30 years? I can have an idea, probably socializing, having a few, social beverages with my friends and family, but I don't know for sure what will be happening. And so, yeah, it's not quite real. Now, this is a very difficult concept for me to fully grasp, because it almost sounds like he's saying, don't worry about the future, in a sense. And he is like, because again, it's in this chapter where he's saying, go live your life, go enjoy yourself, fulfill your passions, find out your destiny, find out the nature that is you. And in this sense, I think he's saying like that you is really just now, and who you are today and in this moment. And it does almost sound like he's saying, don't worry about the future. But after thinking on it for a few minutes here, I don't, because he's not saying just, live hedonistically and for the present moment. But I think what he's just getting at is just to be present in your life, more so that you've done the planning and future-oriented thought, thinking, organizing things, and now you're living it. Like, now I'm in this office that I've dreamt of having a office like this for the better part of probably 5 or 6 years, and enjoy it. Enjoy these things, the little intricacies, the day to day. Slow things down. check in with yourself. Like, where's your thoughts, your feelings? Where's things going in that sense? I think that's what he's overall, to encompass that whole thing, I think that's what he's getting at. Not to lament about the past, because it's not real, and not to maybe overzealously, or have your mind so caught up in the future that you don't enjoy today either. Finding that balance, but he's saying to more strongly, I don't know what ratio he would maybe agree with, but 70, 80, 90%, maybe even higher. Be in the present moment, and enjoy yourself and enjoy the day, because it's all we really have. Are these fleeting moments that as soon as you think of what you're doing, you're on to the next moment. But with that, let me just kind of skim through it here. Let me see if there's anything else I can pick out of here. So even if you're going to live, basically infinitely, you can't lose another life than the one you're living now. So I'd say that's fairly, true from what our understanding of life is and who we are, and that nobody gets to come back. The longest amounts to the same as the shortest. So I think what he's saying here is, even if someone were to live 10,000 years and some person died at the age of 10, in the grand scheme of life and the cosmos, that even though, to us, our human lifespans, that 10,000-year-old person would be quite old. In the grand scheme of things, it's still just a blip. There wouldn't even be probably a recognition on that, on the grand scheme of things. Excuse me. Oh. And so, I think he's just really reinforcing or driving the nail home here on this point of not being afraid for how could you lose what you don't have. So don't be afraid of some future catastrophe, because it's all fictional, and the mind can play tricks on us, and humans have a tendency to always be looking towards the negative, but to remember that it is just a conjuration of the mind, and it's not reality. Just this moment is reality. And maybe if you are very afraid in the moment of lived reality, that's another thing entirely. But don't like in the past excerpts from this chapter, like, don't be afraid to do something that you might be interested in, or put yourself out there in a new way, because you're afraid that so and so is gonna think I'm a fool, or so and so is gonna get salty with me. That's what he's getting at. That last part though, that's powerful. So the present is all that they can give up, since that is all you have. And what you do not have, you cannot lose. So you can't really lose the future. You don't have it yet. You can. This though is where it gets into the nitty gritty, because as you, I can, with fairly broad levels of confidence, say I know what the general theme, or what I'll generally be doing probably in 6 months. And as you scale that back to next week or to tomorrow, I'm increasingly more confident. However, anything could happen. A death, an illness. Maybe I get some nice job promotion here. Who knows? That kind of changes things, or some new data that comes in that 6 month time. But that's what he's saying. You can't lose what you don't have, and I don't have my future yet. I can aspire towards it and do things to influence my future in a given way, but I don't yet have it. I have to work towards it, and that work happens in the present, and what I concentrate on, what I put my attention to moment to moment. I think that's probably about sums it up, all my thoughts on what he said here. So with that, thank you. Thanks for listening.